or should I slow this? Or
Yeah.
this one?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks.
This one rolls, I'm not too sure.
No, this is much better.
Okay.
Should I face somewhere, or does it?
No, this is
okay.
good. I'm just going to talk like this.
Okay.
Okay. So, do you go by Richard or Rich?
Rich.
Rich?
Rich Taylor. Yeah.
Okay. Do you mind if I call you Rich?
That's fine.
I'll be all official for the beginning, and then I'll call you Rich throughout the interview. Is that
yeah,
good?
That's fine.
Okay. As I introduced myself to you downstairs.
I don't remember your name. I'm sorry.
Michelle.
Michelle.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. If I had a marker here.
It's
I'd
okay.
know
I'll
it.
remember Michelle now. I just so many people there. It's just.
Okay. So I work here at the downtown location, the Hamilton Police Station. We're at 155 King William Street.
Yeah.
Okay. And I work in the major crime unit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start by the date. Today is Monday, July 9th, 2018, and the time is 4 minutes after 4. My partner, who you met when I came downstairs,
Okay. Yeah.
he's in another room, and he's
Okay.
taking notes of what we're saying.
Okay.
Okay, so if you can speak slowly and clearly, I'm sure he'd appreciate it.
Okay.
This room is audio and video taped. There's 2 audio speakers on either side of your head,
Okay.
and there's a video camera up there. That's so I'm not sitting here.
Taking notes.
Yeah,
stuff,
and we can just have a conversation like
Yeah.
this. Okay. That door is unlocked. You're free to go at any time. I'm sure my partner's explained to you why you're here.
Yeah, he said that when Alan went to the neighbors, he said Rick or something like that. So
Yeah.
yes.
So I'm here to talk to you with regards to that, and because of what he said, I have to caution you.
Well, that's what we talked about.
Okay,
Like, yeah.
so I'm going to read you that right now.
Yeah.
You may be charged with first-degree murder ×2. You are not obliged to say anything unless you wish to do so, but whatever you say may be given in evidence. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And if you have spoken to any other police officer or to anyone with authority, or if any such person has spoken to you in connection with this case, I want it clearly understood that I do not want it to influence you in making a statement. Do you understand that?
Yes.
What does that mean? Do you know?
If in speaking to them, if they tried to persuade me that it's okay to talk.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is. So, so you're Richard Taylor.
Scott Taylor. Yeah.
Richard Scott Taylor. So you go by Rich Jr. or
Just Rich. My dad goes by Rick.
Rick? Oh,
Yeah.
okay, so there's a Rick and a Rich.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
Some
you
people
just cleared
call
up
me-
a lot of confusion
Some people
right
call
there.
me Richie, but it's,
Okay. And when I first met you, I started by I'm really sorry
yes, I know.
about your mom. I
Mhm.
mean, what a thing to hear first thing this morning. Here.
Thank you.
First thing this morning.
It was making my kids breakfast. All right.
That's okay. Who did you first hear from?
My dad called, I think, around 8 o'clock. He said that a friend of his, Paul McCarg, who is my parents have been separated for 20 years or so, since high school. One of his friends who still lives in Dundas texted him and said there was a fire on Green Court on Mum Street. He said to call Mum to see if it was okay. Like, there's 9 houses on the street or whatever.
Yeah.
I had already texted her earlier in the morning because her neighbor had offered to do a taping on my knee. I guess she's a physiotherapist at, I don't know, the sports wrap or something. And I just said I didn't think we'd be able to make it. So I called Mom. I don't know if I texted her or called her on her cell or home first, but I know when I called home, it just went straight to voicemail, didn't ring. I called her cell, no answer. I texted her a couple times, and my wife came downstairs and asked what had happened because she saw I was upset, and she typed in on the computer fire on what was it? Fire on Greening Court, and did Google, and I kind of heard. I was standing on one side of the kitchen and she was over, and I heard her just kind of gasp, and I walked over and saw a picture of the house with only half the roof, and she read about and said there was one fatality and one person in hospital or had made it to now. And I just tried to get contact with my brother because he was up at their cottage. He was driving down with his 2 kids and his wife, and didn't know what to say. And I was talking to my dad, and at first when we didn't know, I was like, should I call the police to find out if it's their house? And he's like, his friend Paul, who I guess he was texting, was by a police station or something, was going to go in, and he was like, don't call yet, we'll find out, don't, like, and yeah,
So, as I was explaining out there, my position here is obviously to interview you.
Yes.
Because of some of the utterances that were made.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as much I can tell you is that when Alan came out of the house,
Mm-hmm.
he did say something rich or Rick, something
Yeah,
like
that's
that,
what they
right?
said in the other
Yeah.
other room.
And so that's why I had to caution you. I just
Yeah.
want to...
No, I
okay.
understand. I don't know if...
And so we treat everything
Yeah.
at the utmost.
Yeah, well, he's a witness at that time to
Right,
whatever
yeah.
happened.
So I'm glad that, you know...
No,
you understand.
I just want to
Okay.
make sure that this...
Tell me about, like, before we get into all of that, I don't want to...
Yeah.
Let's just talk about your mom.
Okay.
Okay. Tell me about your relationship with your mom.
It was great. My kids were supposed to be sleeping over there this weekend. They'd spent the last two days, like, she took them for swims in the pool. Like, like, she'd drop her anything to get my kids. Like, if I had to stay, I'd teach at history school.
Oh.
And like a staff meeting, or if my brother and I went to Raptors, like, she'd drop anything for those kids. Like, and
How old are your kids?
8 and 4.
Boy, girl?
My daughter's 8 and my son's 4. And he doesn't understand, but my daughter, she was...
I have an 8-year-old son and a 6-year-old daughter. So she had your kids?
She had them Friday for a play date, like a swim date, and they went to the splash pad in the park. Like, she made them quilts. She was awesome. Like, my brother and I always joke that she just always she was never wrong in her thinking, but we'd always think she was. But and then I don't know, like, she was...
So the last time you saw your mom was when?
It was Saturday. Is it Saturday? What's today? Monday?
Monday, yeah.
So Saturday night, they were at our house. Al came to meet her because Saturday, I dropped my kids off. They were going to have another play date because my in-laws had, we were supposed to go on vacation on Wednesday. My in-laws had bought us a trip to Greece. They're my wife's Greek, so. And so my mom wanted to spend some time with the kids, and I got there and we had breakfast on Saturday, and she wanted Al builds model planes, and he's won awards for them, and he displays them in this bad old wall unit that they have at the house. And my mom wanted to surprise him with a new display, so I do woodworking and stuff outside of teaching. She wanted me to build a display case for his planes. So we were going downstairs to take some measurements to see what would work best, and one of the dogs, as I was going down, tripped me as I was going downstairs, and that's when I fell down her flight of stairs in the basement. And she was at the bottom, and I kind of fell under her at the end, and she said she didn't complain. She said her knee hurt, but I couldn't really move my legs, so we went to the hospital, and that's on Saturday, spent 5 hours at the hospital getting my leg checked out. Once again, she dropped everything and looked up, stayed with my kids and stuff, and my wife came in, stayed at the hospital with me, and then she stayed for dinner, and Al came out because my car had been left at their house, so he drove. Like, they'd do anything for me and my kids and my family. Like, he was a nerdy guy, and we always joked about that between my brother and our friends, but he loved my mom. Like, my dad and my mom split up, and it was bad and it was hard, but like, Al loved my mom and made her happy, so
that's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
There are other people like that I have to interview,
Mm-hmm.
that I have interviewed.
Yeah.
He has daughters.
Allison
right?
and Leon,
And
yeah.
do you get along with them?
Oh yeah. We called them we called them this morning. I think Amelia was booked to have surgery this morning.
Yeah.
And spoke to Corey, her husband, and told him kind of, and I guess that's how they found out. I didn't have we're just on Instagram together and stuff like that, so my wife looked up on Instagram, direct messaged her, and but yeah, they're quite a bit younger than my brother and I, so they kind of like, we moved out of the house and they moved in, and like
so that everybody gets along.
Yeah.
Now, before we continue and I go further, I'm sure they told you when me interviewing you like this, you had the opportunity to speak to a lawyer.
Yeah.
Right? And you know that, right?
Yes.
You can if you want.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
I'm fine.
Okay.
Like,
I just wanted to cover that off before, because I don't think I mentioned it earlier. So I just wanted.
They spoke about it in the
Okay,
room,
good.
so
Good. Now, your mom sounds like my mom, always looking after my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And you're a teacher,
Mm-hmm.
and you teach here in Hamilton.
Hess Street School.
Okay, and what do you teach?
Last year I taught grade 2-3, and next year is phys ed and library.
Oh.
Two things. Yeah.
Are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, I've been a phys ed teacher for the last 6 or 7 years before, but I switched schools. I switched from Billy Green up on the Stony Creek
Okay.
Mountain and came down to Hess Street.
Oh, God, healed me for that.
Well, yeah, it's nothing broken. So
Did your mom get hurt?
When I landed on her, she says like she's got bad knees, and she had just been explaining that she's going for physio on her, or massage on her back, and she's been sore for a long time, and she said it hurt her knee, but she didn't really complain. Like, she just said
Which
she
knee
was.
was it?
Sorry.
Which knee was it? Do you remember?
I couldn't even. I couldn't say no.
Okay. So your relationship was great with your mom, great with your kids. Does your brother have kids?
He has 2 twin girls, the same age as Matthew, my son.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
that's probably great at family barbecues. And stuff.
Yeah, we don't. They live in Toronto, so we don't see them
Oh.
as much as we'd like. But yeah, my daughter likes playing with them more than my son because he's a little rougher. So yeah,
That's how boys are.
yeah.
Well, that's okay. So your dad and your mom,
Mhm.
what's their relationship like now? You said it was a pretty.
Well, like when they split up,
How old were you?
I was I grade 13 or grade 12? I was like, back when they had OAC. I believe I was in OAC because my brother was in grade 9, so we were in high school together. They split up. My dad's friend passed away, and his wife and him started seeing each other. I guess it was, I don't know, an affair or something or whatever. It was hard, but in the end they got married and are happy. And my mom and Al found each other. They worked together at Mac, and
What'd your mom do at that?
she was a lab tech, so blood and urine analysis.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
she
what
worked-
did Al do at that?
He was the same. They worked
Same?
together.
Oh,
Yeah, he
okay.
was. He's a couple years younger, but my mom, I think, started at the General, or I think it was the General, and then moved to Mac when we moved to Dundas when I was 3 or 4. So yeah,
Dundas is nice.
yeah. I enjoyed growing up there. It was a nice place to live.
So, the last time you saw your mom was this Saturday when she had your kids.
She at our house. Yeah, they left about probably 7 or 8.
Oh, so they came to your house.
They were
yeah.
because she was like, "I'll take you to the hospital, but we'll take you to the Oakville hospital. We live in Oakville."
Is that where the accident happened, at your house?
No, it happened at her house.
Her house.
I was dropping off the kids,
Oh,
and
okay.
we
yeah.
went downstairs to take the measurements of some different places. She said, "Oh, maybe over top of the bar. He has a room with all his computers because he loved computers. He fixed our computers all the time, and he spends a lot of time in that room." So she was like, "Maybe we'll do it in there." And that's when I fell, and we went to Oakville Trafalgar on Saturday, and she just drove the kids back to my place and waited for us to need picking up again. So
Okay. What's your brother's relationship like with your mom?
theirs is a little different. My mom would say that it's good as far as, you know, they don't see eye to eye on some things, like my mom's health and stuff. So even the other day, on the Friday when I was there, she had said about her back and all this stuff. And when I got home, I'd texted, I saw Mom, and she's complaining about back, going for massage, and he got angry, and she's like, because she doesn't talk to him. He's a chiropractor, so I don't think she wants to talk to him because he kind of talks down to her about it a bit. But he wants the best for her. But and then on a Saturday when I first got there, we were sitting down having breakfast. She's like, "Well, your brother sent me a snarky email about my back," and so they had just on that level of, I think her health is, you know, she when his kids were young, and she would take the go into Toronto to babysit his young ones for 2 of the 5 days. So like she would do anything. Like I could call her at school at 3 o'clock and say, "Can you drive out and pick up the kids from the Y?" And she's like, "Yeah." unless she had a quilting thing. That's the only thing that she probably didn't love more than the kids, but she had a quilting club.
Wow. So, last night,
Yes.
when this happened, where were you?
I was at home, sleeping with my son. He came down. I couldn't sleep too much. At about 2 o'clock, I put Netflix on and was watching Sicario, which is. Then my son came down. I had to turn it off because it's a pretty violent movie. And he was upset, and he came down and laid with me for about 30 minutes or so, maybe around there. When he fell asleep, I took him back upstairs slowly and went back down. I just wasn't sleeping with my wife because my knee, so I was laying on the floor downstairs. But.
Okay. Does he usually get up when he's upset like that?
Yeah, he usually come like almost every other night. He'll come and he won't put his sheet back, like his cover back on, so he'll come to us every night. Can you put my covers back on? Can you put it in? So, or he still isn't toilet trained when he sleeps, so he'll wet his bed half the time or something. So we're up and down all the time. So yeah, I wish my daughter was toilet trained by 3.
Wow.
But
good for her.
Boys are different. So
And girls don't like to.
yeah. He'll sit in it the whole night and just be like, oh.
Okay. So you were at home, and today, obviously, you heard the news. What time was it when you and your dad?
It was around 8 o'clock when I could check my phone when he called, but I thought it was weird because I had my phone in the living room and I heard it ring. I was making breakfast and coffee for myself and my kids, and I ran. Matthew actually brought me the phone and it was ringing. I saw it said Dad on it. So my dad doesn't call that often. We have probably the same type of relationship that my brother and my mom have.
Yeah.
My mom would always say I'm more like her, and Chris is more like my dad. So
it's like every family, there's always one. So what's your relationship like with your dad? Like, kind of.
It's gotten better. I think I had a lot of anger back when I was in high school. Like when they first, it was my mom. He hurt my mom, right? And she took it rough, and she stayed and raised us, and he left, right? Like he was still there, but she didn't. She stayed and raised us and gave us everything. Like when I went to teachers college, she bought me a car so I could drive to Buffalo back and forth, right? Like it was a piece of junk K car, but it got me back and forth to Buffalo. And the day,
K car.
yeah,
Back
back
in the
before.
days.
No, that was after K cars were even popular.
I
It
had a
was,
K car.
yeah.
So, your mom raised you guys. Did you guys visit back and forth with your dad, or no? Was it your mom?
Like after they separated?
Like, did they split right when it happened, or did your mom stick around and raise you guys?
I remember them telling us, my brother and I bought them a gift certificate to Shakespeare's for their anniversary, and later we found out that's where they finalized their divorce on our gift that we bought them for their anniversary.
Oh, no.
So, but I remember my dad. They split up when we were younger. I remember playing t-ball. My dad moved out for about a year, but I was probably like my daughter's age at that time. I knew that we had to go visit Dad in his apartment and stuff like that. But when they split up this time, I can't even remember totally, but I think he moved in with Kathy, who's his wife, basically right away. And she was, what hurt my mom was that Kathy was one of her friends. Now, she was also the wife of one of my dad's friends who died of cancer. So he, I don't know, there's always been, I think, to me, like, I felt like anger sometimes to my dad, but it's hard to tell him that, like, you hurt me like that. And my mom was just strong. Like, I can remember when they split up and talking, like, crying on the couch, and she'd just come down and hold me and cry with me. And, like, obviously she was upset too, but she just wanted to.
Was your brother with you too? Like,
yeah, he's 5 years younger. And then we both went to McMaster, played baseball there, and like I lived at home there, and my mom let me live there for free, right? And it was oh my God.
When's the last time you think your dad talked to your mom?
It would have been at my, as far as I know, like they see each other at Christmases and birthdays. So my brother had the twins' birthday their birthday's June 20th, so it would have been around that, whatever that weekend was there. My dad came, his wife didn't. My mom came, Al didn't. It was always tense when they were together. I think it was better when, I don't know, like, I sit there sometimes, my brother would, like, it's been 20 years, like, you're happy, just get over it, but not going through what she did. And I don't know, like, it was always awkward. You could feel the tension, especially when Kathy was there, who's my dad's right, like, basically
Are they still married?
They're still married, yeah. Basically they'd be in like one corner, and and even like I got mad at my mom the other, like, after we had I think it must have been my kid's birthday. We had them together this year, and they had a dance party theme, and we had a dance party in the basement, and my dad and Kathy were down there, and people were taking pictures and stuff, and my mom and Al stayed upstairs because they didn't want to be down there. And I remember dropping the kids off, like, a couple days later, and my mom just crying at me. She's like she was so angry that my wife put pictures on Facebook, and there weren't any of her dancing with the kids. Oh. And it was like, I was just like in my head, I'm like, it's so petty in a way, but I'm like, it's Facebook, I don't even have Facebook. So I was like, but to her, like, she does so much for them, and my dad just kind of swoops in, and that's what she's like, he just swoops in and takes all the glory. And I tried to say, like, it wasn't intentional, like, the pictures were the kids, he's in the background, and it's just like stupid things like that you wish.
Yeah, it still hurts. It still bothered her.
Sorry?
It still bothered her.
Oh, it did, and I did.
But you're right, you don't think of things like that. You think of the pictures of the kids.
Exactly. Like, there was 20 pictures on Facebook, and my dad was in like 15 of them, but he's in the background, and the kids are dancing, and I just said, well, you didn't go downstairs with, like, they're not taking pictures of the adults and putting them on, but I just, it's so stupid now.